after.
안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕코입니다. 오늘은 화요일. 날씨가 참 좋습니다. 이 제 유일한 생명체가 다 죽어가고 있네요. 카메라가 많이 삐뚤었고요. 일단 스트레칭 위주로 하면서 운동을 하도록 하겠습니다. 오늘은 많이 피곤하거든요. 역시 운동할 땐 CNN이죠.
We did get word that Israel has now activated some 5,000 reserve troops, which is a measure they take when they expect tensions like this to last for some time. And Hadass, as you noted, this is the worst we've seen in several years in this region. And you get the sense that it is getting worse by the hour. Have there been any steps toward mitigation by anyone?
I mean, we saw the number of rockets we have in the last few minutes. It seems as though we are really reaching a higher and higher level of tension and of escalation here. It kind of seems that the Israeli military have activated 5,000 reserve troops, and they are prepared. They have reports that they are preparing for action. We are just now actually hearing another siren going off, but this is number 4 in the last 20 minutes or so. We have so far have not heard more moves. People are starting to come back into the bomb shelter. They tend to go in and out depending on when the sirens are going off. They're starting to come back in here. But this is really intensifying here. The fact that we've had 4 sirens in the span of just a few minutes. Things are just incredibly tense right here. And I don't see. Now we're hearing booms right now just above us. They're quite heavy. I think we're gonna stay in this bomb shelter for a little bit longer because things are escalating quite a bit.
You're hearing explosions in us? Any sense of how many?
We are hearing explosions. They're interceptions. I would say we've heard 2 explosions inside Ashkelon, and I probably just last minute or so heard there's another one. I would say 10 right now. Booms we just heard. And it's continuing. As we speak, it's just air raid sirens, people cutting into the bomb shelter. We hear the explosions. The air raid sirens stop. The explosions stop. People go back out, but it seems like this is just what's happening right now here.
All right, Hadass, stand by, if you will. You and your team, terrific work. Stay safe. Do whatever you need to do to be safe. We're going to come back to you as soon as we can because obviously this is an escalating, ongoing situation in Israel. Rocket strikes, impacts, or interceptions, hard to tell from where Hadass is going on at this very minute. Our breaking news coverage continues right after this.
This is the 100 Club, our look at companies that are 100 years old or older. Dana yogurts are known the world over. The business was fermented in the Spanish city of Barcelona, where Dr. Isaac Carasso began producing yogurt to help combat indigestion among children. In 2017, the company launched a new slogan, One Planet, One Health, and has now committed to making all of its packaging reusable, recyclable, and compostable by 2025. To mark its centenary, Dannon has allowed access to almost 2,000 of its yogurt strains to help scientific research into food and health benefits.
I guess the essence of the story of Danone is entrepreneurship for health.
I'm Clarissa Ward on the River Ganges in India, and this is CNN.
Hadass Gold and her team in Ashkelon in Israel, which is not far from Gaza, they heard sirens indicating incoming rocket fire. Hadass then told us over the phone that she did hear several explosions, not clear whether they were ground impacts or these rockets being intercepted by the Israeli air defense system. This is part of what is rapidly escalating tension in the region. With rockets incoming to Israel, Israel has taken action against what they call Palestinian militants in Gaza. There has been rioting and clashes inside Jerusalem around the Al-Aqsa Mosque. There's a lot going on in that region. We're working to reestablish contact with Hadass and her team. We'll bring you a live report from the ground very short. Brianna?
John, Caitlyn Jenner sitting down for an interview with CNN. She is running, of course, to unseat Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom in California's all but certain recall election. And she's trying to navigate a delicate middle ground, championing some progressive issues while also trying to court Trump voters. Here's part of this interview that she had with CNN's Dana Bash.
The former president still claims that the 2020 elections were stolen from him. So let me ask you, do you believe President Biden was duly elected?
He is our president. I respect that. I realize there's a lot of frustration over that election. You know what? I'm frustrated over what happened back then. But what have I done? Okay, as a citizen, I'm frustrated. And I said, you know what, I want to do something about it.
The then Trump campaign went to court. They filed scores and scores of lawsuits. There was no evidence that there was anything fraudulent. Are you comfortable with that? Do you believe that the election was stolen?
No, I believe in the system, but I believe in what we need to do in the future is we are a democratic republic. We need to have integrity in our election system. I'm not going to go in the past. You know, we're in a post-Trump era, and they still keep talking about it.
Are we though?
But we're in a post-Trump era.
I don't think he believes that.
We have moved forward.
Well, the reason I'm asking you about this is because you are a Republican, and there is a
Kind of,
real...
yeah, we're kind of on the Republican side, but yes.
Are you not a Republican?
Well, I hate to use, we label everybody.
Well,
Okay?
what do you-
I don't like labels, you know? I
Oh.
okay, and this is how I deal with it. Just because
어머니.
I have conservative economic philosophy, that's the only thing that the Republicans are kind of on, that I'm on. But I don't know, maybe you call me a libertarian, maybe you call me in the middle. I really don't know, because when it comes to social issues, I'm much more progressive, much more liberal.
For more on this interview, I want to bring in CNN national political reporter Maeve Reston. Maeve, this was a really interesting interview, and if you hear the whole thing, what jumps out at you more than anything else is that for Caitlyn Jenner, policy in what's going on in California and a firm grasp of what she believes about policy, it's a work in progress. Let's just say that. That clip we just played, it does seem like Caitlyn Jenner is trying to straddle the issue of Donald Trump, saying that we're in a post-Trump era, which is something that I guarantee you the former president doesn't like to hear, but also saying, kind of hedging on whether Joe Biden won the election fairly, which of course he did. So what's going on here?
So it's absolutely a hedge, and we saw in that interview with Dana that Caitlyn Jenner was kind of all over the place on policy. She's speaking in favor of some major government intervention on issues like homelessness, but also trying to maintain this connection with Trump voters and Trump's base. She supported Donald Trump in 2016, then rescinded her support in 2018. But as we know, those Trump voters are a huge base of financial support in the Republican Party. And so while she's looking at an electorate here in California where Republicans actually tend to be more progressive than they are nationally, especially on issues like immigration, she's trying to find this middle ground where she can appeal to Trump's voters and not alienate them, but also speak to the electorate here that really doesn't like him very much at all. John?
I wonder how she wins over folks when she's breathing life. She's certainly keeping the door open to the big lie being possible, right? She's not shutting that down at all. Maeve, what is the feeling there on the ground about where all of this stands, about what the future holds for Governor Gavin Newsom?
So Jenner is one of several Republicans who is running to try to replace Gavin Newsom in this all but certain recall. It has not been scheduled yet, but there are enough signatures to qualify. But Governor Newsom's approval ratings here have really been pretty steady. About 53% of likely voters approve of his job approval right now, and only 4 in 10 say that they would vote to recall him. Not only that, but the economy is improving. He announced a $75 billion surplus yesterday. He's going to go around, he has a plan to go around and try to hand out stimulus checks to Californians. And obviously the pandemic case numbers have gotten better. So things really have stabilized for him, and I think we'd have to see a big shakeup here in order for him to be recalled. But obviously these Republicans are doing their best to get out there and persuade voters that they'd be better off with someone else. Brianna.
Yeah, as someone who grew up in California, this is just part of our drama. This is part of our political drama that we have as Californians. And you know what, America? We're taking you along with us on this ride. Maeve Reston, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Coming up, some new questions about the police response to the Capitol insurrection. Why did officials direct resources elsewhere after seeing hundreds of Proud Boys marching toward the Senate?
Plus, we have breaking news out of Israel. Sirens going off, explosions heard. That's our reporter Hadass Gold running for shelter as she heard sirens. CNN is on the ground. We're working to reestablish contact. Stay with us.
Can your investments have a positive impact on the world? At Standard Chartered, we believe money can be a force for good. Through your sustainable investments with us, we're financing hospitals that are the heartbeat of local communities, funding clean energy to make electricity more accessible, and investing in innovative solutions to clean polluted marine habitats. Sustainable investments that benefit you and parts of the world that need it most. We're Standard Chartered, and we're here for good.
Quest's World of Wonder, in association with Turkish Airlines.
Erfan Özdoğan is a real-life, modern-day Turkish cowboy. Boots and all. His small corral, nestled amidst the rocky wonderland. A menagerie. Wild horses have roamed these mountains for centuries. Legend says it's their presence that gave Cappadocia its name.
Cappadocia means land of the beautiful horses. Are these the horses?
Yeah. It's a few years since I was on a horse. It's like riding a bike, they say. You never forget.
Fairy chimneys, here we come. Oh my word. That is stunning.
Turkish Airlines cares more about your flight safety than anything else. That's why they go beyond the standards and provide you with TK Extra Care, a high-quality protection protocol for every single point of contact throughout your journey. Have a safe and healthy journey with TK Extra Care.
I'm Stanley Tucci. I'm fascinated by my Italian heritage, so I'm traveling across Italy to discover how the food is as unique as the people and their past.
We're hungry, right?
Starving.
Come with me as I taste the flavors of the land and sea.
Let's go fishing.
To discover what the food tells us about the people that craft it and its distinct regions. The maestro is making a pizza for me.
Oh, God. That's one of the best martinis I've ever had in my life.
If you don't believe in God, you believe in tortellini. It's like a religion.
Oh, wow. This dish tells a story.
Ciao, ciao.
It has survived the darkest of times.
That's the best sushi I've ever had.
A CNN original series, Stanley Tucci, Searching for Italy, premieres June 20th.
I'm Max Foster in London, and this is CNN.
We try to be global and we try to be smart, but I want to hear our authentic voices of people who are passionate, who are intelligent, and that's the consistency that we try to get at.
Fareed Zakaria GPS, Sunday on CNN.
Did Capitol Police observe 200 Proud Boys moving toward the Senate on the morning of January 6th and send its resources elsewhere? Well, that is what a congresswoman is alleging. Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren just revealed that in a House Administration Committee hearing, and Whitney Wild is here in Washington with us tracking the latest developments. So what happened here?
Well, that's the question that Representative Lofgren is trying to figure out. So this came out of a hearing yesterday with the Capitol Police Inspector General, and so she was reading from a timeline, and she said there was just one mention of the fact that Capitol Police had eyes on 200 Proud Boys, which is an extremist group we've covered extensively, who was moving toward the Senate side. And so in this hearing, she was sort of exasperated, and she asked the Inspector General, what happened? How did this happen? The entire hearing was focused on their threat assessment and counter-surveillance operation, so she was looking for answers there. However, the Inspector General said he didn't know, he didn't have an answer for her at that moment, but he thinks that that will come up in subsequent reports. As far as redirecting resources, what Representative Lofgren also said was she was making this distinction that Capitol Police had eyes on 200 Proud Boys and yet seemed to monitor, about a half an hour later, 3 to 4 counter-protesters. Obviously, a fraction of what we would have seen from these Proud Boys, many of whom are now facing charges, some of whom are now facing conspiracy charges. Capitol Police had this to say. USCP did have counter-surveillance teams in the field reporting on the Proud Boys. The Intelligence Operations Section also received information regarding the 200 Proud Boys from MPD. USCP pushed that information out to the intelligence distribution. The department was on the lookout for any and all potential threats on January 6th, Brianna. But another big question, because what we know is that those Proud Boys were a very big part of the riot. So the question is, if you had eyes on them, what happened?
It seems at least clear, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that they just didn't consider that to be a threat.
Well, the information they were always working with was that they had expected that Trump supporters would be there, and we've heard this over and over, that their expectation was that these Trump supporters were not going to be violent because they felt like they had never seen violence out of that before. However, it's also in conflict from one of the things we've also heard out of Capitol Police, which was they knew there would be white supremacists in the crowd. They knew that there was a potential that they would be armed and would be violent. So there's still not really a good answer on what they actually thought. There seem to be these two conflicting ideas, and we have been working vigorously, and I know, Senate investigators, House investigators too, are trying to figure out, what did you really know? Because you've got these two conflicting things.
And did you prepare for the worst case scenario? I think that's very clear they did not, so
Exactly.
why not? Whitney, thank you so much. The Biden administration is extending an olive branch to North Korea amid the coronavirus pandemic. We have some brand new details just into CNN on that next.
Plus, why are so many service members turning down the coronavirus vaccine? We'll speak with a veteran who is working to fight vaccine hesitancy after losing his mother to COVID.
The new normal defines a bold new coming of age, where connectivity redefines boundaries to markets, and information is the most tradable asset, where omni-channel commerce is a necessity, and the only differentiator is digital agility, where trade routes are continually reconfigured, where sustainable logistics are dramatically reimagined, and open competition is the most successful modus operandi, A community consciousness has grown to align with our responsibilities as a society, where human connection sparks dialogue and collaboration ignites open-mindedness. And as we take a step forward, it's time to say, join us. Make your mark. Welcome to the city of spontaneity and consideration. Welcome to the city of limitless opportunities. Welcome to Dubai.
아이고.
Breakneck speed. Our engine continues our impetus and momentum. My show brings you the latest news and top news makers. Give me the facts on voter fraud.
There has never been a moment where voter fraud has affected the outcome of an election.
And we also dive below the headlines to explore vital issues impacting our lives.
I'm on tour.
Filled with people and art and debate and energy. And so now we have to rely on the two of us.
How interesting is it to be Tyler Mitchell today? It's crucial we make sense of what's happening.
There seems to be some confusion, or maybe you can clear up. Where are the US forces in Syria going?
And fully understand what's at stake.
What's happening now in the world is a great thing because people are talking about subjects they never did before.
I'm on board. Tuesday to Saturday on CNN.
This is CNN. No holds barred.
Out front tonight, hypocrite in chief. So let me just put it to you straight, Senator. Senate Democrats, they're getting their butts kicked.
No nonsense.
Are you simply shooting the messenger because you don't like the message?
Facts first.
How stupid do you think we are? Allies in Washington are covering for him, and they shouldn't get away with it.
Because getting to the truth matters.
The Washington Post went and confirmed the date of that hearing. So you're telling me unless I go back in a time capsule, you're not going to believe it.
Aaron Burnett out front. Tuesday to Saturday on CNN. When news happens anywhere in the world, CNN is there.
They're just making their way slowly towards the wall. The situation right across India is grave, verging on catastrophic.
Why do you think India has been hit so badly? I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional right now.
New this morning, a pandemic olive branch from the U.S. to North Korea. Sources tell CNN the Biden administration is open to sharing vaccines and other